Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Selfish Talk. I am Chanel McCord, the CEO and Clinical Director of Oasis Group. I am also your host of Selfish Talk, and I'm super excited to be back with you all today. And I'm even more excited because my guest is none other than the Pastor Dr. Joy Morgan, my pastor mama. Y'all already know this. Y'all already know she's my pastor mama, so I don't have to get into that. But I'm super excited because I know today's conversation is going to be amazing as we talk about self-care. And so if you guys don't know already, Dr. Joy is my opening keynote speaker for the conference, and she is going to be talking on the topic of selfish destiny. I'm gonna leave that right there because I know that she's just gonna drop all kinds of bombs. So let me tell you, if you come into the conference, don't be late because we're starting off with fire. I just want you to know we are starting off with fire. I don't know what's finna happen, but I'm gonna make sure that the team is gonna be ready. And so I'm super excited and thankful to have my pastor mama on with me today. Dr. Joy Morgan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, it is such an honor. It's a privilege. I am just blown away by looking and seeing all that's happening in your life. As your pastor, I am grateful to see God working in and through you. So it is my honor and my privilege to grace your stage and be a part of this amazing event. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. You know, one of the things, and this is kind of not even a topic, but it is, when you were just talking, the first thing that popped into my mind is how mentorship is self-care.
Ooh,
That literally just popped into my mind, how mentorship is self-care, because I can honestly say it's because of your mentorship and being able to watch your life that I'm able to do certain things that feel almost effortless, right? Wow. Because I've had the opportunity to be a part of that. And one of the things, I say this all the time to people, you've said this before, and it is like, it blows me away every time. A lot of things are caught and not taught.
That right there.
And because I've been able just to watch your life and be a part and to serve you and to serve on your team, right? And the work that you're doing, when I step into doing my work, it's like, oh, we're just going to do this, right? My team is kind of frustrated with me right now over the conference because they're just like, well, what are we? I'm like, the conference is done, y'all. Like, I'm a coordinator, right? I'm like, this is what I do. I'm like, well, this is already done. That's already done. This is already contacted, whatever. And it's just like, I know certain things I've been able to do so effortlessly because I've been able to watch your life. And I know that mentorship is something that you talk about deeply. And so I think this is just a good topic as we talk about self-care. When you see mentorship for you, how is mentorship a matter of self-care?
So good. I'm always just like you, and I'm so honored and humbled that that's who I've gotten to be in your life. But you have heard me, because of our walking together, talk about Mama Catherine in that way. She has been, that's my heart. And years ago, before I started a church, before I knew who I was, before I had Joy Morgan Ministries, Motivates a Business, any of that, she stepped into my life and she mentored me. She walked with me. She held me accountable. She worked some things out in me that I didn't know needed to be worked out, and has continually been a source of counsel and wisdom and comfort. And, you know, even with her becoming Dr. Catherine Williams, I was motivated and inspired to become Dr. Joy Morgan. And she walked me through that process. The first day of class, I call her like, yo, Mama Catherine, I'm out. No, daughter, you're going to stay right where you are.
Right.
This degree. And, you know, she got to watch me through the stream. She was making sure that she watched me walk across that stage because she was there that first day. And just, you know, that has been a safe place. It's been a safe place for me. And I've needed that. And there's been other mentors. There have been other people. I've used mentors in different areas of my life, whether it be in business or pastoring or whatever. But she's been that spiritual mom for me. And so it absolutely is a form of self-care, especially if you're talking about selfish destiny, that sometimes you need somebody to connect with that is where you want to be. And
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
constantly, and she sets the bar high.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly feeling like I've got some place, whether it's just in how she carries herself,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not even always the material things or the things she's accomplished, but just who she is. And she
Absolutely.
just and so when I get in her space, I straighten up a little bit, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
making sure I'm talking right, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
and it's just been, I wouldn't be the person that you all know if it not had not been for her mentorship. And that doesn't take anything away from certainly my upbringing. I would not, certainly not, wouldn't
Right.
be here
Right.
without my biological
Right.
parents and how they trained me and aimed me. But for this,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you got to realize: who can get you where you're trying to go? Who's done this?
Yes. Yeah.
That is where you need that type of mentor to get you where you're trying to go. So yes,
Yeah.
mentorship is everything.
When you say that, what all I could think about is how mentorship is the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Oh, I love that.
Because I could go and thank Reverend Catherine for where
Ah,
I am today.
wow, that's powerful.
Because of who she's been in your life, you were
Yes.
able to pass that on and be that in my life. And then those
Yes.
that I have the opportunity to mentor or whatever the case is, it's like a generational,
Woo.
it's a generational healing
So
in
good.
many different ways, And when we talk about self-care, it's so important because what I appreciate about mentorship is, like you said, I don't take anything away from my upbringing and what my parents were able to do for me, but we
Right.
all know that everybody has a limited capacity. And so my
Yes.
parents got me to where I am today as a person.
Yes.
But God had placed mentors in my life to take me to that next level in business, to take me to that next level
Yes.
in education, to take me to that next level in who I'm supposed to be in a person, right?
Yes.
So it's like mentors are necessary. And then the submission. There's
Yes.
something about learning to submit to mentorship that also served as a form of self-care for me. It like I can't even explain it, but there's something about learning to sit down and shut up and listen and
Mm.
take it, even if you don't think this is the case. Well, let me sit down and let me listen and let me just see what's going on. Because clearly, if I'm sitting here judging myself, I can't see myself the way
Mm-mm.
this person, because you have a different investment in me. And you have
Woo.
a different level of interest in me, right? And so, just the whole process of learning how to be a good mentee.
That's so good. So good.
Can you talk about that for a second about just learning how to be a good mentee? I don't know if this is off topic, but I feel like
Woo.
this is where it's being
Yeah,
led
we're
right
supposed to
now
be. Yeah, yeah.
because somebody needs to hear. It's not just getting a mentor. You have to learn how to be a good mentee.
Let me
Talk
tell
about
you
that for a
something.
second.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I'm trying not to use a bunch of biblical analogies here because this is not necessarily a biblical space per
But it's
se,
fitting.
but it's fitting when I think about the relationship between Elijah and Elisha
Mm-hmm.
and how Elisha could not get the double unless he saw Elijah go up. If
Mm.
you see me go up, that means you have to finish with me. And so often
Wow.
we want what's on somebody's life, but we don't want to go submit through the process. Just give me my double portion now. And Elijah said to Elisha, you're asking a very hard thing. You don't even know what you're
Mm.
asking. But if you see me when I ascend, then you can have it. I'll drop it on you. And so often people don't even last a couple of days. They don't last a week. They don't last a month. Because if you really want this double, you're going to have to walk where I walk. You're going
Come
to have to see the
on.
pain that I've gone through. You're going to have to go through some of that pain with me. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to surrender. You're going to have to put your desires aside. You come on.
Come
That's what
on.
he was saying. If you're willing to go through all of that with me, then you can
Then
have
you
my
can
double portion. And so I have learned that there are not many people we have put into that space. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I talked about Mama Catherine. We also have the C Wrights who we cherish in our life. And
Mm-hmm.
this is so fitting because the other day, Bishop C. Wright called a meeting at 8 a.m. on Saturday. And true story. And we're like, it's Saturday, Bishop.
8
8
a.m.
a.m. And I live an hour from where you having the session.
Oh,
And
it was in person. It wasn't even a
oh,
Zoom
this
meeting.
wasn't no Zoom. No, no, no. He called us together in person at 8 a.m. And the temptation was to go, I'm sorry, spiritual dad. We're going to just
Can't
miss
make
that
that
one.
one
Can't
right.
make that one. Until God pricked our hearts and said, okay, so you're going to reap your level of submission.
Come
So
on.
get yourself together,
Get up.
get up, and make sure that you're sitting front and set. And let me tell you this, our presence blessed him. He
Wow.
was so blessed
Wow.
that we were there. More than anything, you could just tell he was genuinely blessed by the submission of a son and daughter. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. And so if I can just refresh my mentors that way, but if all I need to do is show up, they didn't
Come
even
on.
ask me for nothing. We didn't have to pay to be nothing. He just said, show up. I'm pouring.
Wow.
And you showing up to receive was a blessing.
Wow.
So you talk about
Wow.
being a good mentee. It's doing the hard things, not walking alongside and getting to sit in a big chair and getting your contacts and getting access to the things you have access to. No, sit down at 8 a.m., get up at 6 in the morning on a Saturday so that you can be where your mentor tells you to be, because you don't even know you need this. And I was about to ignore it. I was about to diss it and say, oh, I'm sorry. I'll catch you next time. And I needed every word that proceeded out of every mouth that came before us that day. Every word I needed.
Come on.
And it's a ripple effect. So then we got confirmation, as you know, we heard the same word, systems. We heard another word, system. So God was talking to us. He's like, I need you. And guess what? He knew we needed. Our mentor said, you need this.
You need this.
You don't get to tell you what you need. A mentor tells you what you need because they've been there and they've done that. And there's something that happens in the discipline of just doing the thing that you don't want to do.
That right there.
So I'm a fitness coach. I'm submitted to her.
Come on.
I'm submitted to her. She knows I need to do this many reps. I need to do this many push-ups. I need to stand like this. I need to eat like this. And I kept trying to do part of it. Well, I'll do this part, but I don't think I need that part. But not seeing no results.
Not seeing no results.
But when I did everything, she said, now I'm seeing the results I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Because a coach and a mentor will tell you the things you don't even know you need.
Yeah.
That's
and you know, it's so good. And how does this tie back to self-care? It ties back to self-care because there are certain things you will never achieve on your own. And if you try to achieve it on your own, it's going to be so much harder than it has to be if you just submit to the person who has already gone before you to show you the way. That is self-care. That is self-care. Like, I'm grateful because even like I was saying with the conference, and I know you had mentioned this last year, somebody said to you that my conference was like a replica of your conference. You doggone right it was.
It better be. You know why?
It works. Why am I going to reinvent the wheel on how we do registration or to take care of certain things or whatever the case is? I can sit here and struggle through and try to figure all of that out. Or I can follow the model that has been shown to me. I can follow the model that works, and I can have an amazing event that's organized, that everybody has a great experience. And so for me, it's self-care to be able to be in those spaces and those places with you and to have been able to submit to you, because the other side of you is, and let's just be real, as you go and as I support you, I'm picking up the things along the way. I'm learning some things along the way. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and because I know I'm a good mentee, because I know that I'm submitted, I don't feel as though I'm trying to steal your platform or I'm trying to steal your stuff or whatever the case is, because there's nothing that I do as a mentee that you're not already included in, that you don't already know about. You know what I'm saying? I make sure that I get this really a stage I ever mount that I don't mention my pastors ever. I don't think, even in a secular forum, I don't think there's a talk that I ever give where there isn't a part where my pastors do not come up. I don't
Wow.
care what form I'm in. Like, it just doesn't matter for me because I know who I am. I know where I came from. And truth of the matter is, the nuggets that y'all be dropping, it's like, I can't say this any better than what my pastor said. My pastor has said this. Like, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's just like, I get to now, like you said, with Elijah and Elisha, I get to now stand there, support you, watch you go higher, and then I get to be Generation Next
Yep.
as you go higher,
Yep.
and I think it's so important. And I want whoever is listening out there, mentorship is not just a thing, it's important.
Yeah.
It's important. If you're married, who are you talking to marriage wise? Like, who is guiding you? Who is in your ear spiritually? Who is guiding you? Who is in your ear? Like, whatever business, who is guiding you? Who is in your ear? If you have a lack of mentors in your life, I guarantee you life is so much harder for you
Yep.
because you have nobody who has gone before you to show you. But let's talk about the other side of self-care. Why don't people submit to mentors? It's the P word: pride. You're prideful. You don't want to submit to somebody because it's like, because I want to do it my way. I can
Yeah.
do it. I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me. I don't care. Y'all know I'm about to put out an anthology. How y'all think I learned how to do an anthology? Like,
Yes.
life has become easier for me
So
because
good.
of my submission and putting down that pride.
So good.
Mentorship is absolutely a form of self-care.
Absolutely.
Have you ever found times in your life where maybe you hadn't submitted to mentorship or you didn't have it and you found that you've had to walk a rockier road or a rockier path because of it?
It's been so long now. I'm so grateful because I think me and Mama Catherine were calculating that our mentorship relationship has probably been 25 years in the
Wow.
making. 25
Wow.
years. And that's significant because I've been married for 28. So without the mentorship, it was only like 3 years. She came
Mm-hmm.
into my life.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jesus. At such a very pivotal point in my
Yeah.
adulthood
Yeah.
that I it's hard to almost recollect. I
Wow.
can use the analogy though of fitness
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
health. And yeah, that was rocky. It was and my lack of submitting to the entire process. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I showed up with my trainer the other day, and my basement had just been flooded, and that's where I do my workout, that's where my gym is, the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. And the temptation was to quit. And so I reached back there. I'm like, we're on for today. And she was like, let me just stop and pause for a second and just say that your perseverance is admirable. And I just want you to just for a minute sit in the fact that
Mm.
you are pushing past all of the I moved all my
Come on.
equipment. It is behind this screen right now. I got all
Mm-hmm.
that, and that's my new room. Now my room is this big. I'm coming from this huge space. But
Right.
I'm so determined to work on this body and make it the healthiest version of itself that it can be, that I will do whatever I need to do. But that wasn't always the case. That
Yeah.
was not always the case. And what she was really saying is, I've been waiting on you.
Mm.
I've been waiting on you. And to see
Mm-hmm.
you finally arrive. And she said, and I'm dealing with some people that are now where you were in this. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm just hoping they come along because they're worth waiting on. Whoever
Yeah.
you are
Come
dealing
on.
with, that you're coaching, that you feel like, or me and you, we could, if we really want to have some conversations,
No, it's
we won't
real.
do that today
It's
with
real.
soon to be Dr. Chanel McCord, but we could have some
Yeah,
conversation.
man.
We're where we are today, but there's another version of Chanel we could talk about
Oh,
that
yes, ma'am.
was worth waiting on. That was worth waiting on. And same with my spiritual mom, that
Mm-hmm.
I was worth waiting on. And we as coaches and mentors and pastors and leaders, we need discernment to see who is our Peter and who is our Judas.
Mm.
There are some that you say they're worth the investment. Because Peter, he denied Jesus. Okay, there I
Right.
go being churchy. He
It's
denied,
true.
right? Where he was dealing with some other stuff. Judas, we had another issue going on.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
tried to get me killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter just denied him. You tried to get me killed. And
Yeah.
you better know who's worth the investment. You
Mm.
better know who's having a bad day and who's has a bad heart.
That's so good. That is so good. Because there's a difference.
There's
There's
a
a difference.
difference between who's having a bad day and who's got a bad heart.
My,
And
my,
I
my.
could tell with some of the people that I've allowed to come, look, y'all having a bad day, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not a bad heart and it's
Yeah.
worth waiting on. And
Yeah.
so I just think that, I have been on the side of maybe not always being fully submitted to the
Mm.
process. But I'm thankful that most of my adulthood, when I got
Mm-hmm.
married, most of it has been up under mentorship of some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, yeah. And I think about, and again, the scripture, you receive a prophet in the name of a prophet, you receive the prophet's
Yes.
reward,
Yes.
and so I think about that in terms of mentorship, because I know personally, and I don't care about saying this, and again, I'll shout it from the rooftop. I know that there are certain things that have opened for me because I've been connected to you.
Yes.
I know that. Like it's not lost on me. There's certain people who wouldn't even know who I am if I
Mm,
wasn't connected to you. You know
wow.
what I'm saying? Like I know that. And so I think, when you talk about when people are looking for doors to be open and different things like that, submission to your mentor will do that because they have access to a whole different audience. And when you're
Mhm.
submitted and when you're a good mentee, like doors open for you. People start to notice because your mentor is bringing you in. It's like, oh,
That's what I wanted to add to that. See, because when you have a good mentee,
mm-hmm.
you will open doors for them
Yeah,
because
yes,
I
you
can
will.
trust you,
Yep,
because you are a reflection and a representation of me.
yep.
So I don't mind opening doors for you. And one thing I appreciate about you and some of the others I've brought close is you don't feel entitled to those open doors. You're
Mm,
not demanding that
mm-hmm.
and there are people who want entitlement without submission.
Yeah, come on, come on.
You don't get to put a demand on something. You don't that's not how any of this works.
It's not.
You don't get to put a demand where there's been no deposits. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's so good.
You don't get to put it's like me going to the ATM demanding that it give me back money when I put nothing in.
Put nothing in it.
And so you can put a demand because there's been deposits,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
spiritually, even
yeah.
if it's not physical assets and things you can tangible things, have been putting a demand on deposits that were made in the spirit. Every
100%.
prayer that went up, every
Come on,
seed that
come
was sown
on.
into our life, you can put a demand on it. And here's how it works in the spirit: you don't always get to reap where you sowed it when it comes to people. So I might have sowed a seed into my pastor and I'll reap it from a client,
Come on.
because that's how it works in kingdomnomics. Okay? That's how this
Woo!
thing works. So
Come
people
on.
are trying to put a demand on something they never put a deposit in. So you
Wow.
want what's on my life, but you didn't submit to what's on my life.
Come on. I think that is so, like when you said you won't always reap from where you put the deposit. I've recently been, and it's, I'm going to say the word faced with, but it's not
Mhm.
a bad problem, where I've had new people come into my life as of recently who are committed to Chanel.
Yeah.
They want to see me do well. They
Mhm.
just want to support without anything in return, that they just see me.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like they just see me and it blows my mind. And just thinking about it now, I didn't put two and two together. Like cuz I'm like why are they so interested in me like this? And they want
Right.
nothing in return, and like
Right.
their heart towards me is pure. Like I
Right.
know all of this, right? But I got it. I
Right.
got it. I
Yep.
got it. I've been submitted to
Yes.
a mentor, to
Yes.
seeing about my mentor, to
Yes.
making sure that I can help serve in a certain way. And so now God is allowing me to reap that in unexpected places.
Yes.
In
Yes.
unexpected places. Again, mentorship is the gift that keeps on giving. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? It's just the gift that keeps on giving. And I think that's so powerful, and people miss that. Like your heart, even like you said, has to be pure towards mentorship. If you're looking just for doors to be open, you want a coach, not a mentor, and you pay for that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There's a difference. There's a difference between Coach Joy Morgan
Mm-hmm.
and my pastor Joy Morgan. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference. And even and let's even talk about this, because you're my pastor. Just because you're my pastor doesn't automatically mean that you're my mentor.
Or
That's a
spiritual
different
mother.
role.
Or spiritual mother.
Well,
Because in this season, I'm learning that just because I'm your pastor does not make me your spiritual mom.
yeah. I'm still working that one out.
I know you are,
I'm
but
still
work it
working
out.
that
And
one out.
I'm telling you, I'm working. I can speak to it with authenticity from this perspective,
Yeah.
because there
Yeah.
is a difference.
Yeah.
There's different roles and responsibilities that come with all of the different designations, and
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that some people don't see me that way. I'm not.
Mhm.
That's fine, but it has helped me with my level of expectation,
Mhm.
because sometimes I have to learn, don't expect me from other people.
Wow.
And that will free you up from
Wow.
offense and
Yeah.
hurt and
Yeah.
disappointment.
Yeah.
Just stop expecting me from everybody.
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful on so many levels. Did
Self
y'all hear that?
care. That's self care.
Stop expecting you from everybody.
You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. And once you do that, I spent so many years, Chanel, so many years wounded because I was expecting me.
Mm,
So now from other people. And so I can put people in their proper compartment.
that's so good.
And so I would be shouting people out, and I'm always supporting them. And if they ask me, I feel like, and at some point you're looking for some things in return, because you got to also measure your motives. Because
So
if
good.
we're honest, some of us are sowing respect and sowing support and sowing help
Mhm.
in the thought that I'm gonna get it back from them.
Mm,
And when you don't, expectation is the breeding ground for offense.
yeah.
So I expect something that I'm never going to get from them.
Come on.
And so, oh, shoot, that's not what this is. So
Right.
you then have to measure some ground is just worth sowing into, whether you get it back from them or not.
Right.
So I'm going to do what I'm supposed to
Right.
do. But then
Right.
there's some ground you say, if you were looking for something to come back from that specific ground and you realize it's not coming, then you get an opportunity to say, I'm going to pull back from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No, and
that's
that's
what we're gonna
important for a mentor.
do. Yes.
Know that you know that you know. Know that you know so that your feelings isn't hurt. And if you
Mhm.
know you don't have the bandwidth to sow into that person in that way, because there's some expectation that there's going to be this mutual exchange or whatever, then you got to be okay in saying, I cannot mentor you.
I can't. I can't do that.
You
And it's
have to be
okay.
okay with that. It's
And
okay.
it's okay.
It's
And it's
okay.
called boundaries.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
this season, it's called boundaries. I just heard a message that Dr. Daniels, a clip, and you have to know what you can handle
It's
in
so
this season. And for I'm not saying I wasn't there,
good.
but I've been in ministry now. I've been pastoring, I should say pastoring for 20 years. I've been in
Right.
ministry 30 plus years.
Right.
But in pastoring, I no longer have this bandwidth to
Mm-hmm.
sit through these conversations where you sit down and tell me how I hurt you because I didn't sit down and go to Panera Bread with you.
Right.
When you don't get to put that demand on me because there's been no deposit in this relationship. I get to choose
Come
who I go to
on.
Panera Bread with.
Come on. Come on.
And I'm not sitting through your entitlement of what you think you should be able to withdraw. I'm not sitting
Come
through that.
on.
No,
Come
no.
on.
I
Come on.
get to choose, because some relationships are a lot of work and they take a lot of capacity that for where we're going in this season, I don't have it to give. And
Come
you
on.
better know what you have to give or you will hurt everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. That right there. Like, and on that note, drop the mic. Let me turn off this because here's the thing. Boundary, I don't care what your role is. Pastor, mentor, mom, dad, husband, wife. Everybody needs to have a measure of boundaries. Everybody need you have to have boundaries. And when you don't, you are susceptible to hurt other people because you're over promising and under delivering.
Yes.
I was talking with a client the other day and I got this book idea I'm going to write. And the book is called Sometimes I'm the Problem.
Woo-wee.
The book is called Sometimes I'm the Problem. And I started jotting down notes because if we're going to be real with ourselves, if we're going to talk about self-care, sometimes we need to look back and recognize when I'm the problem, recognize when I'm entitled, recognize when I should have set a boundary and I shouldn't have done that, right? There are some people, oh, this is going to be a hard conversation, but there are some people who have hurt us and we need to go back and apologize to. Because I've allowed you to treat me that way.
Yes, indeed.
I never set a boundary to begin with. I allowed you to think that this was okay all this time. And so I teach people how to treat me. And I've allowed this to happen so many times. So you know what? My bad. I'm sorry because I let you thought it was okay to treat me that way.
That's so good.
And sometimes we got to look back at ourselves and say, sometimes I'm the problem. Because guess what, y'all? Sometimes we are the problem.
So good.
And a lack of boundaries is one of the ways that you become the problem.
Absolutely.
That's so good. That's so good.
That is so good.
Dr. Joy, as we wrap up, you're going to be talking about selfish destiny at the conference. What is one quick nugget that you can drop on the people about selfish destiny and what that means? You don't give it all away because they got to be at the conference to get it, but a quick nugget you can drop on us.
Well, after today's conversation, you got me rethinking my whole message. My original intent was to talk about fulfilling the destiny God gave you and not man.
Mm.
And when we talk about selfish destiny, when I first got the topic, I thought about the things I was pursuing to get somebody else's approval and validation.
Mm.
Selfish destiny says, I need to do the thing that God put on the inside of me.
Yeah.
And that means sometimes it goes back to that word boundaries, that I have to say no to the demands other people are putting upon me when I know that's not my purpose and my passion.
Yeah.
So you just tapping into what you're supposed to be doing and not what other people think that you should be doing. That was revelatory for me. That was a game changer for me because I was pursuing things that I really, just because you're good at it doesn't mean you should do it.
That's a whole other word.
just
because you're good at it don't mean you should be doing it.
That's your destiny. And the truth of the matter is there are so many things I could be doing because quite honestly, and this isn't on me, this is God, I'm gifted at a lot of things. And I use those giftings to help me with my God-given purpose. I'm good at math. I'm good at event coordinating. I'm good. I could go down the list. I can counsel people. I'm good at those things. But that doesn't necessarily mean I should be an accountant. That does not mean I should be a wedding coordinator. Come on. That does not mean I should be a licensed therapist. I'm good at certain things, but it helps me with my dad. I'm good at counseling, so it makes me a better pastor. I'm good with math. So from an executive pastoral perspective, I'm looking to crunch numbers. Right. I'm good at coordination. So my conferences are going to be well executed because I can coordinate. I'm organized that way. So we have to be careful that we don't take our giftings and make them our destiny.
Oh, that's so good.
That's you told me don't give it all away.
That is so good. Do not take your giftings and make them your destiny. And on that note, ladies, listen. If you haven't registered for this conference, you need to just go ahead and do it. Registration closes on April 18th. We are shutting it down at that point. Dr. Joy is going to be our opening. Like I already told y'all, she's like, it's going to be fire. Like, it's gonna be fire. Like just the whole things. We got an amazing day planned for you. We hired a DJ so that we can have some fun. We're gonna have a self-care hour. This just in. Y'all are getting this fresh off the pot. I have partnered with Dr. Kipley in Impactful Care. Her team is going to be on site doing health screenings, like the whole nine, y'all. Like when we talk about self-care, we are going to do self-care and we're going to learn how to do this from a fresh perspective. If you have not registered, I am unctioning you to go ahead and to register for the conference. It's going to be an amazing time. And it's going to be one of those things that you just had to be there. Like you just had to be there. So listen, registration closes on the 18th. Go to www.oasiswellnessgrp.org, click on Rhythm of Life Conference, get your ticket, bring a sister friend with you, and be ready for an amazing, amazing time. Dr. Joy, really quickly, before we hang up, can you tell the people how to get in touch with you? How can they contact you?
Yes, you can go to joymorganmotivates.com. You can go to Joy Morgan Motivates on Facebook, on Instagram. You can connect with me anyway. You can go to my email if you want to reach out to me directly, joymorganmotivates@gmail.com. So I would love to
listen. We have an Overcoming Success Summit coming up.
Yes.
Make sure that you register. I'm going to make sure I put all that information into the caption. Register for the Overcoming Success Summit. The Roadmap to Destiny Conference is coming up in September. Here's what I'm going to tell y'all. When y'all come to this conference, you're going to sign up for that conference. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to sign up for that conference because this year's theme for the Roadmap Conference is impact. Impact. It is time to make impact. So all the information I'll make sure is in the show notes. But thank you again so much for joining me today and taking time out of your day to be with us. I appreciate you and I love you.
I love you more.
But I hope that you guys have an amazing day. I hope you got something out of this conversation, and we will be back with you next week for another episode of Selfish Talk. So make sure you stay tuned, and I will see you at the conference. Stay selfish, everybody. Bye.
Bye.